Good morning. Happy Monday. Sorry I couldn't be there with you today, but our guest teacher will have everything under control with us. Um, Before the bell rings, let's get some things on the desk. Before the bell rang, you should have had the following things out. You should have your planner out, as always. You should have your notebook out. We're going to take some notes today, and we have our WOW. And you're going to need your volcano packets. You're going to need the readings and the writing packet. All right. Now that you've got your planner out, let's get the important things in for today. First of all, we have a guest teacher, and I expect you to be on your best behavior, so please in your planner write, "I will be kind and respectful." And remember, anybody who gets a complaint will have 2 days of detention with me. You'll have detention Thursday and Friday. So make sure that you're on your best behavior and you're getting your work done. Also, put in your planner that Library Day is this Thursday on the 17th. Finally! Woohoo! We get books! I'm so excited. Also, our word of the week is revision. That's the first thing we'll be doing today. And we're going to be examining some writer's craft. Last week we used a video to do it. Today we're going to be looking at a poem. And then after we've looked at the poem, we're going to write our own poem using the sample poem as a mentor text or a pattern or a sample to follow. All right, now that you've got that in your planner, let's start with item number 1, which is our WOW. These usually take us about 7 to 10 minutes. So get out your notebook, set up your WOW on page 13. You're going to be copying the definition, brainstorming examples and some non-examples. I've given you 2 examples and 2 non-examples, but you will need to brainstorm at least 3 to 4 more each in class and put them in your notes. You're going to read the sample sentence that I have written, and then of course, as always, you will create your own sample sentence. All right. Set your page up like this, like we always do. This is WOW number 8. The word is revision. Use the top half on the left for examples and on the right for non-examples, and a box in the middle for the definition. Let's look at the definition together. Revision. Well, as you can tell, it has 2 parts to it. The RE, this is our prefix, and it means again. And then vision means to look at. So you're seeing it again. You're kind of seeing it in a new way. The actual definition of revision is a change or set of changes that corrects or improves something. So like when we write a piece and we come back and you have to make a lot of changes, not just spelling, but ideas to make it better. You add things in, you take things out, you change it. The second definition is a new version of something. Something such as a piece of writing or a song that has been corrected or changed. I think you guys get the idea. The important thing is that it's changed. It's different than the first version. So for examples, I've got change, remodel, reconstruct. So for example, if you were going to remodel your house, you would take out all the things that were in there and put new different ones inside. Okay, same thing with reconstruct. You might knock down walls, put a window where there wasn't a window previously. Things would be changed. Non-examples would be just copying something over, writing it again, making it neater. Just making it neater is not really a change, so that's a non-example. Our guest teacher is going to pause now, and you're going to have a couple of minutes, maybe 2 minutes, to brainstorm some examples and non-examples and write them in on your notes. You're on page 13. Okay, here's my sample sentence. After my revision, my story had changed so drastically that I also had to change my title. So you get the idea? It's so different than it was before. Even the title that tells people the main idea has to be changed. Now take about 2 minutes and write your own sentence. All right. Last week we watched a video and we examined how the artists and musicians created character, story, and theme. Today, we're going to read a poem and we're going to examine the writer's craft. Writer's craft means the tools and techniques the writer chooses to use to create their work, like what kind of language and vocabulary, what kind of figurative language did they use. So to do this assignment, you need to turn now in your notebook to page 122. At the top, you're going to title the page Volcano by Valerie Doran. And you're going to set up your page like this. The top half of your page will be for notes. And the bottom half, you're going to cut that in half. And the left quarter, you are going to copy the poem in this square so that you can use it as a model. I think it needs 11 lines. And then on the right rectangle, right square, you're going to write your own poem using Volcano as a template. But you're either going to write about the nature character or the Firebird character from the video last week. The guest teacher is going to pause this presentation for a minute and let you set your notes up now. All right, here's a picture of a volcano. Think of how you would describe it. What kind of words would you use? There's a lot of action going on here, a lot of bright colors. Let's read together the poem Volcano by Valerie Doran. Volcano. Seething cauldron, an inferno belching noxious vapors, spewing red-hot molten lava, spilling down mountainside to drown the land in sulfurated destruction. Rocks hurtling through the air, falling everywhere, turning into words, pouring from lips, burning, destroying. Well, that's pretty interesting. Let's look and see what Ms. Doran did with her volcano poem here. She did a couple of things. She used a lot of very expressive adjectives. Seething cauldron, noxious vapors, red-hot molten lava. sulfurated destruction. Okay? So lots of very descriptive adjective. Now, I'm sure you noticed she used also a lot of participles. The INGs, seething, belching, spewing, spilling, hurtling, turning, burning, destroying. So using those gives it a very unified feeling because there's the repetition in almost every, well, yes, in every single line. And then, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you didn't, look right here between to drown the land in sulfurated destruction, she's got a bigger space. She did that on purpose. And then after everywhere, there's a bigger space till the next line. What she's done here is she's used space to show you that something is changing. Let's look at what has happened. First of all, we have the description of the volcano up here. And then the action happens. It blows up, rocks hurtling through the air, falling everywhere. Oh, did you notice in her whole poem, right here, she has one rhyming couplet. You have 2 lines that rhyme, air everywhere. And then, after this last space, you get the idea, wait a minute, volcanoes don't have lips. She's not really talking about volcano. This is a person. This is a person having a meltdown. This is a person maybe having an argument. This is a person whose temper is blowing up and they're saying something maybe they shouldn't be saying. And what do you think they're burning and destroying? Maybe a relationship? So she has used personification in this poem just like in the Firebird. They used the nature character and they used the Firebird and they made them living characters that were like people. In this case, she said that people are like volcanoes. Pretty interesting. Let's take this to our notes. So what tools did we notice the writer use to create character and emotion? Well, we talked about them, or I talked about them. Let's get these into your notes. They used descriptive adjectives. So write it in your notes and give 2 or 3 examples of adjectives that Valerie Doran used. Strong verbs. This one's really important. You didn't hear her write, it was, the volcano is hot. No, she used very strong verbs. Put a couple down. Put 2 or 3 examples of her strong verbs in your notes. Patterns. The author used the patterns, repeating those ing endings. Now, when you write yours, do you have to use ing endings? No. It could be ing, it could be eds, it could be a rhyme, a repeating sound, just something that repeats throughout the poem to pull it together. And spaces. I do want to see spaces in your poem to show something changes. And personification. In your poem, you're going to need to use some kind of personification, some way that you have described a non-living thing as though it had human actions or emotions. The guest teacher will pause this for a minute while you finish getting your notes. All right. Now that you've seen the tools and techniques, all those things in your notes, it's your turn to try to use them. On the bottom right half of the page, I want you to write your own poem. You're going to choose one of the characters from the Firebird. You can either do the Firebird, or you could do the little nature spirit. And while Valerie Doran used a lot of techniques, you're just starting. So you don't need to use all like 6 or 7 things that she did, but try 2 or 3 things to put in your poem. Definitely you want to use personification. That's part of the assignment. But the others are up to you. Maybe you want to use rhyming. Maybe you want to use repetition. Maybe you want to use strong verbs or really descriptive adjectives. It's up to you. But definitely make your poem look like the poem Volcano. It's going to be your pattern and your guide. You've got about 7 minutes right now to work on this. Be creative. Have fun with this. If you do finish early and you want to work on a little extra credit, you could write a second poem about any character or topic you like. I'll give you 10 extra credit points if you have a second poem ready for me by Wednesday, and I will add an additional 5 points extra credit if you illustrate the poem. Now, after you have completed your first poem, copy all of your final drafts into your writing packet on the appropriate page. All right, I'm going to leave these directions up for you. Our guest teacher will pause this and take your time and write your poem in your notebook on 122.